Those guys are talking about. But see, the problem is, the way in which we might have gotten knowledge in the 80s or the 90s on a local level, the masses of the people these days are getting it off online. 120 is online. And so somebody who's acquiring that lesson or getting that teaching from somebody else, they're teaching them about, well, God, this is how it is. You're allowed to have a grafted woman to be your earth. No explanation behind it. But see, somebody who might be, let's say, hypothetically speaking, living in Milwaukee, who has never had a physical touch with the gods of the earth, brothers and sisters, they don't know if that's right exactly or not. They're making assumptions. They don't know. So what I'm saying is, at some point in time, those who have access to the internet, they're not dealing with the physical, those who have access to the internet, get on there and bomb the hell out of these gods. If you don't like the Allah team, because you don't know, or you take it on face value, which I would deal with, you take it on face value, so you don't want to join in and us openly dissing or destroying what we know and everybody knows is now cypher. But because I say it online, say now cypher, God, that's not what the teaching of the Father is. The first thing they do or say, nobody else says nothing in that cypher because they dislike the Allah team for whatever personal reasons, but regardless of who or what, truth is truth. That's how religious we have gotten. I received a call from a God that had a strong issue with the gods and the earth. He just disliked them. He said they're phony, they're this, you know, that, why are you putting out these bills, blah, 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 all this, that, and the third. And I asked him, he said, all they're known for is selling drugs and killing people, blah, blah, blah. I said, do you know of any pharmacists? He said, yeah. I said, well, I don't know of any 5%ers that do that. I know people who come in the name of many things and do it. They come in Christian names, they come in God's name, they come in Muslim names, they come in all these names and do those things. But the fact of the matter is, that's not what the black man teaches. That's not the God teaches. How many of you all remember this book? This is a book that was done by Dr. York. At the time, his name was Imam Isa. The book of the 5%ers. I'm tired of saying it. That book has so much poison in it. We used to be in New York. Whenever we see the Ansars selling that book, we would flip the tables or take the books. For two reasons. One, he was dissing the Father and the gods and the earth. And two, he had a lot of misinformation in that book. And our science was, wait, hold up. You're poisoning the people now with this book. And on the same token, you're dissing the Father. Regardless to whom or what. If that's not right exactly, you build on it, you deal with it. He openly challenged the gods of earth. Those days, especially in Brooklyn, those guys, if they see the gods, they always challenge them. Their teaching, one of their teachings was to challenge anybody that they see and ask them question after question after question. They couldn't get the gods on the lesson, so they started asking all types of other questions that were surrounding the gods. Back then, they go after the gods with the Quran. But damn it, the gods knew the Quran. Back then, they knew the Nazarene said that we wrote the Holy Bible, the Bible and the Holy Quran. We wrote that. So the gods knew the Quran, they knew the Bible, so the Ansars couldn't touch it. So they started fabricating every single thing they could do. They started altering pictures. They did all those things, and the gods was flipping tables ready to harm these brothers. Because that's how serious people were taken in this day and age. Are we builders? Are we destroying the negative? Are we destroying the wicked? Is the black man God? Those are the things that people are asking us on a regular basis. What is the difference between the 85% and the 5% if we're doing the same exact things? If we're taking things on face value, if we're drinking and smoking and we're killing babies, what is the difference between the 85% and the 5%? If we are religious in our mentals, in our thinking, what is the difference between the 85% and the 5%? If because of differences, we are manifesting hate through all things in life, what is the difference between 85% and the 5%? All this is what we are taught. We have us here, we have, I see Muslim sisters here. We're dealing with the importance
of 3/4. Again, the difference between 5% and 85%. If we are women in existence today and we decide to show our breasts, show our legs, and because we have knowledge of self, we think that it doesn't matter, well, what's the difference then? Because anybody can pick up a book and read it. Anybody can pick up any form of documentation and read it. But knowledge of self goes a lot further than knowing lessons or knowing the mathematics or knowing the Quran or knowing the Bible. Knowledge of self is a manifestation of self. Because once you acquire that knowledge, what are you going to do with that knowledge? If the majority of communication is non-verbal, well then that means that's wisdom. That means we're showing and proving, we're manifesting our self-style wisdom. That means our ways and actions are that of the knowledge in which we acquire. So we acquire the knowledge of self and say that the black man is God as the protector of the babies and the protector of the 85% against the 10%. Well, at what point in time are we going to draw that line in the sand and say, well look, no more, from now on, we're going to start building. From now on, we're going to start adding on. From now on, we're going to stop allowing people to come amongst us killing our seeds. From now on, we're going to do this. When I asked the gods in Trenton that I built with, I said, God, what's going on? Almighty ran down a history of it for me, because I've been away, I travel a lot. The brother Michael ran down some. I built with some other guys who called. They ran down some things, and we went over some things. And I said, well, God, originally this was going to be done in Willowboro, New Jersey. But instead, God said, you know what, why don't you come to Trenton and we can add on. I said, all right. So God started calling and adding on. And then I said, well, if we have 120 to the dome, then we can unite and understand that in the city of Trenton, there are people dying regularly because of the lack of knowledge. That man who killed that woman in front of her babies, if he had the knowledge of himself, he would have never thought that way. We as 5%ers are held responsible for the uncivilized. So if the uncivilized is a movement amongst us, then we got to reach out and teach them. And if they refuse to teach it, then they're held accountable for their own actions. And then we should deal with it. And that's the bottom line.